Hi. Welcome to the Human Design for Marketing podcast. I'm your host, Yvette Mayer, and this show's for you if you're done with cookie cutter marketing and ready to build your personal brand in alignment with who you really are. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to the Human Design for Marketing podcast. I am super thrilled to be sharing something I love with you today. And I'm going to take you here first. If you're a regular listener, you know that I have been through quite a lot in my personal life lately. My dad passed away, then I got COVID, and I literally lost my work mojo. There was a time when I found it so difficult to actually be interested. I know, right? Me in my business, in my marketing. And this was recently, this was just a few weeks back. You know, I think the first week that I didn't have COVID, that I was working again, I went to bed and listened to a trashy book on Audible. I don't know how many times. I do not know how many times. So many times. It was like a daily thing. I'd be like, I don't feel like this. I want to go back to bed. Now, I probably still had a bit of COVID, but yeah, I don't know. It really hit me. By the way, I am loving the Sarah J. Maas books. All the Fae goodness. Are you a fan of what would I call it? Fairy romance? Fairy romance. But I love it. And so I was feeling this pull constantly of like, I want to get back in with my favorite stars of the book, stars of the show. I don't want to do my business. And, you know, it took a bit of time to really find my motivation again. And I did talk about that a few episodes back, but that's not what I'm here to talk about today. What also happened, in full transparency, during this time that I was offline is my income came to a halt. And look, I am somebody who feels very destabilized without flow of money. But I was in a mood. I'm like, one of the biggest things that can happen to you in your life just happened to me. And I don't care. I only care about looking after myself, being with my family, relationships. Like, I don't care. I don't care. And yet, you know, as I recovered and got back to the business of the business, I had to reconnect and I had to find a way to start bringing revenue in again. And it was really at this moment that it dawned on me that I hadn't been doing enough of a job around monetizing all of the work I've done. And I have done so much, diving in with my line 1, building solutions with my line 5 that hadn't been productized. Oh, that's a good word. I love that word, productized. That was just wisdom sitting in pockets that hadn't been brought together. And if you're a regular listener, you'll know the last couple of episodes I've shared how this has actually unfolded. And in the last one in particular, that in the last 3 weeks, or is it 2 weeks, since I really reconnected with my business, found my mojo, and started to focus on helping and sharing and finding solutions for people, that I've released 2 low-ticket products that have gone amazingly well and I believe will set me up for a far more steady flow of passive income than I've ever had before. And this is something that is so fulfilling for me and that I'm very excited about. But it's only been possible because of how I've built my brand, my aligned personal brand with human design, and the way that I show up in my marketing and the way that I work with things like my own design and with the human design transits. Which brings me to the nature of this episode. Now, I intentionally started this episode with a story because I fundamentally believe in the power of storytelling. Look, There is no more effective way to build connection with somebody than to be your real, vulnerable, and authentic self and go there and really connect with somebody about your feelings and what it was like. Like, you just heard about me being unmotivated, me being in scarcity around money. And some of you are going to be thinking, oh my God, she gets it. She gets how I feel as well. Now, this is the power of storytelling in action. Now, the big reason that I am on this topic right now is because of gate 56 having just been moving through the transits. So it means this energy is around. And it got me thinking about how human design really is so much about storytelling, especially when you get into things like Ra Uru Hu's teaching about how the gates, let's call them I call them the cosmic content codes, but he actually has a body of work called the 64 material ways. And his material ways is how to make money through the gates. Interesting, right? And the overarching element of this is every gate is most powerful from a line 3 angle. What is line 3 synonymous with? It's storytelling. It's transformation. It's not being afraid to get out of your comfort zone, just go for it, fall over, scrap your knees, make mistakes, fail, go backwards, learn the lesson and share the lesson and ultimately evolve and thrive and prosper and bring that back to everybody else. That's storytelling, and that is line 3. So I wanted to put this here for you because as a marketer, becoming good at storytelling is so fundamental for your growth and your success that I thought it was timely for me to not just talk about this, but to give you some lessons, both from human design and from my own marketing experience, to make your stories even more powerful than they already are. So some places to think about storytelling in your business and your marketing. So it starts with telling your brand story. So it doesn't matter what gates you have or what your incarnation cross is, you have a story. Your brand has a story. And it's your personal story of what has led you to offering the solutions and the opportunities and the products and the services that bring your ideal client or customer into the thing that they want, whether that is buying the thing that they want or transforming from the inside out. It is the same thing, right? It's the same thing. This is an experience that you're selling from your own story. And the more willing you are to be vulnerable and authentic about why you did this, why you've built this business, why it's important for others, the better your brand story is going to be. You know, in the Frequency Project, this is a big focus of the work we do. We build a brand story, but we look at the energetics of your design to make sure that you're leveraging some of these key placements in your chart that will help shape your story and amplify it. So some of the places in human design that we work with in the Frequency Project to help with storytelling are your personality sun, always important because it's where you're learning a lot of lessons over and over again, and it really shapes your life's work. Your nodes, your south node and your north node, these show you a bit of a narrative of how you're designed around what you come in with consistently in your south node and where you grow into over the course of your life in the north node. Great storytelling insight. There are other places in your chart as well. Another one is your incarnation cross. This definitely gives you a sense of your overall purpose. How can that shape the story of your brand? And then there's these certain gates that you may or may not have. So the 56 is a storytelling gate. And another gate that I think about as being a storytelling gate is the 13. So depending on where these are showing up for you in your chart, if you have them, that's another area to contemplate and explore around your brand story and how you express yourself in this essence. But that's not all. That's not all. it's important to know that your story is like the hero's journey. If you have never watched the Finding Joe movie that is on YouTube, you can watch it for free. It's about it's about storytelling, essentially. But Finding Joe is oh my goodness, like you've got to go look it up. You've got to watch this video. I'm having complete open head moment of Joseph Campbell. I'm like, who am I talking about? Who's the author? Joseph Campbell. And it's about the essence of storytelling and the fact that all of our stories follow the hero's journey. There's a moment when you're called into an adventure or a challenge or a journey. Then there's this you're getting out of your comfort zone and going on this quest and things going wrong and having to face your demons or monsters or whatever that is in the real world. And then ultimately through being tested over and over again, figuring out the way through. And then I said this earlier in the episode, but also, getting to the other side and learning and growing and evolving and reaching nirvana, whatever that looks like for you. And then bringing that back to the people you care about or the community or, the people that need what you have. This is the arc of a good story. And it's definitely something that you want to be feeling into when you develop your brand story. But storytelling doesn't just live in our brand story. It's a huge part of how we market our business, particularly if you're a line 3 or even a line 6 because you were born as a line 3, but really for all of us because it's so engaging. I mean, sitting around a fire, rubbing your hands, hearing, from others in your community. This is something that's been going on forever, since the beginning of time. That's how powerful storytelling is. Now, to finish up, I wanted to leave you with how you can tell better stories. So the first thing I'd suggest to you is do go and watch Finding Joe on YouTube. That's going to give you some insight into the hero's journey. But secondly, let's put my proper marketing hat on and give you a little bit more of the principles that will help you frame up your story in a way that people are actually going to lean in and want to hear more from you. The first thing is, and I didn't do it really well in this episode, is a good story doesn't need an intro. A really good story, especially in marketing, starts in the middle of the action. It goes straight over once upon a time, that's not in there. It's like straight into my client was living on benefits, or I went from 20K months to my June was a disaster after my dad died. It's that kind of thing. It's like straight into the middle of the story. So that's an important thing to know when it comes to, especially if you're telling the story written and it's going to be in an email, or even you have to start with the hook that's like the middle of the action, that really strong statement that gets people interested. The next principle is you want to make it relatable. You don't want to tell a story that is self-serving. It needs to have some sort of bridge or metaphor that leads into what it means in your specific niche, market, whatever that looks like for you. You need to build this bridge between the story and the point that you're making, which I did do with this episode. I brought it back to human design and storytelling. Okay. Next, specificity. The reason I mentioned Sarah J. Maas and the name of the books is because some of you are going to be like, oh my God, I'm reading that. And that builds a deeper level of connection. Why is this important? Because I want to transport you in my story so that you can build a picture in your mind of what was going on. If you're on my email list, you'll know that when I originally sold the Cosmic Content Code Guide, I started with, I remember the moment that it dropped in. I was sitting in a cafe, I was looking at the Harbour Bridge, and I went from there, right into a story. And it was authentic. It was a vulnerable, true share. But I got specific so you could feel the story, that you could visualize the story. This is powerful storytelling in action. Now, when it comes to marketing, you also want to finish strong. You want to finish with something that promotes an action, whether that is to find out more, to make a comment in or comment in the post, or send you an email back, or take the next step of listening to a podcast episode, whatever that looks like for you. When you tell stories well, it actually leads to more. It keeps people in your ecosystem. It connects them to your brand and builds that trust factor that helps lead to sales over the longer term as well. So that's it for this episode. I'm in India right now traveling, and this was recorded a little bit early, knowing that the 56 was moving through and that I have a passion for storytelling and helping you grow online and market in a way that's authentic and aligned to you, that is also very effective. And storytelling, oh my word, it is such a powerful way for you to market your business. I look forward to being back in your ears sometime soon. Bye for now. There are heaps more resources in the show notes. I can't wait to be back in your ears again soon. Bye for now.